still not making it.
All right. So if you've got those two pieces cut and marked, then out of your remaining piece, you need to cut a 20 by 37. Doesn't matter which way. I think you'll have to do it the lengthways. I'm not sure there'll still be. There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be enough the other way.
Carol, try going out and coming back in and see if it'll ask you to start your video.
Scary.
Philadelphia, it's like the game.
Log on.
Yeah, I was gonna say the weather and the gate.
See, you should do something like this. You're having a craft fair and having
They just want to take a nap, but it was a sleepy
Linda.
period.
What's that?
Having a craft fair in Thorne and
They do need
Hatboro.
to wake up, but they
It says
still
over
have
75
some really
talented
dangerous chances in that time
makers.
period out.
What is it?
It's a craft fair. You
Oh,
can make a bunch of stuff and go there and sell it.
oh, cool. Yeah, that's a good idea.
All right. So you should have 3 pieces of soft and stable. Is everybody there?
No, but I don't have it yet, so
You don't have the soft and stable yet?
No.
I didn't get any of the stuff I ordered
Oh,
except
no.
the pattern.
Oh, no. Even, did it not go out when the rest of them did, or it's just running around the country?
I ordered later.
Oh, wow, doggone it.
I had to wait for the money.
Hey, we all know that deal. We all know that deal. All right. So hopefully, where's my, did you hand me that sheet? Yeah, you did. What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. But this is
That's
the
why
one-
I'm glad this is going to be, we can watch it again.
Yes, absolutely.
And do you know where we'll be able to watch it again?
In this group, where are you gonna put it?
Okay.
Miles? What? Where are you gonna put the video? In this group?
It'll be in this group.
I know. Will
Thank
it be
you.
your files or?
I think I think that's where it would be.
Okay, and everybody copied this, right?
Correct.
Good. Okay. So I think what we'll do now is, instead of, I mean, or we can cut the big fabric too and get it out of the way. It's up to you. But we'll set these soft and
Carol,
stable
turn your video on.
aside. She did?
No,
Oh. Yeah, you have to tell it you want to be video.
I just left the buttons alone and it worked out fine.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
Ooh, pretty.
Finally came in. I'm still debating on what color to go with it, but
What do you mean? What color to go with it?
well, I was gonna put blue with it, but the blue is a different blue. Kate didn't do anything in teal, and I don't have any
You
teal.
mean it's for the zippers?
Yes,
What do you want to pop out?
no, I mean for the for the handles and stuff. So I may just use black.
That'll make the fabric stand out beautifully.
I think so too. All righty. So now what, let's cut out the back and front pieces, or the A, B, and C pieces from the fabric. And I mean, if you feel comfortable, you can cut them both at the same time.
Just
Oh, maybe not
Linda,
the same one. Now my feathers are
directional.
directional, but I'm not going to worry about that. That's the middle of my bag. So I'm not going to let that stress me out.
The
So-
lining, you mean?
Right. Because I don't think they would matter if they were going up or down. Well, they might, but It's the inside of my bag, so I'm just not, I'm not going to piece that for the inside of my bag.
Back a little more so they can see that.
So
Yeah.
Bobby, when you say back, you mean lining, is that correct?
Right. This is the lining.
Thank you.
This is the inside of my bag. This is the outside of my bag. And although this is directional, it's crazy enough. I don't
It
think it's
doesn't
gonna
matter.
matter that much. Yeah, I just don't think it's not gonna be enough to keep me awake. So if it's not enough to keep me awake, then I just move with it. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to cut those pieces of the bag that go with those softened stables. And I usually cut them both at the same time, but it's up to you. Especially if you have directional fabric, you might feel more comfortable just cutting each piece separately. So
Can I ask-
why don't we just do that? We'll just cut each piece separately.
So Bobby, do we, the way the pattern instructions is, it's 21 by 30. There's 3 different pieces. Do we cut that size out first?
Right. There's going to be 3 pieces to that. There's going to be the soft and stable that we cut, the front and the back.
Okay, no, I'm looking at the cutting layout for the quilted fabrics, option 1. Do we cut that 21 by 30 and then a 21 by 24? Do we cut all those sizes and then lay it out?
Right. Those are, because we cut the soft and stable to those sizes. And now
Okay.
we're going to cut the fabric to those sizes and sandwich the soft and stable.
Okay,
This is the
Oh.
front and the lining.
Right. Yes, this is the front and the lining. This is, all we're cutting is the quilted fabric at this point in time.
okay,
So the first piece we want to cut is A, which is 21 by 30. And that's the front of your bag. So you don't have a lot of play, but you might want to, it really won't matter because you're going to put pockets on it. You're going to have the side on it. They have pockets on it. So don't get carried away trying to. But if you do have directional fabric and it's running this direction, you might want to cut this direction. But Margie and I figured it out, and you can't cut them all that direction. I don't know if that makes sense. But so what you can do is you can cut A and B on this end. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut 21 by 30 and a 21 by 24. So I'm going to cut first, I'm going to cut my 21 by 30 at this end. And then next to it, I'm going to cut 21 by 24. Of course, I'm going to take my salvage off. Don't you need 2 pieces of the front the same size? Of the front?
So like this is going to be the main outside of my fabric.
Right.
And I need to cut one piece, that's that first
One
number
piece.
A.
Right, we're going to cut A, B, and C out of that fabric. We're going to cut all 3. Because some of it is pockets, some of it is the strip that goes around, some of it's the front and back. A is the front and back. Yeah, there's all different things that we're going to cut out of these 3. So you need to cut the same thing we cut with soft and stable, the A, B, and C. We need to cut with the front and the back fabric, or the inside fabric.
Okay, so we're doing
Just-
that exact same thing with both of these pieces of fabric.
Right. And I'm
Okay.
going to cut A right over here, which will be 21 by 30. And then I'm going to cut B here, which will be 21 by 24. And then I'm going to take C out of the length over there because I have no direction. It doesn't matter to me. It's just going
Oh,
to,
Lord.
if I can get it. And this too, I mean, if you want to draw a line on that fabric, we're gonna bind all this. So it doesn't matter if you write, I mean, I wouldn't write across the middle, but you could, you can easily. Oh, my
Draw
God.
your lines.
You can easily draw your line and then cut your fabric if you don't have rulers long enough to do that. So. I don't know who cut this, but it's kind of crooked. Probably Margie. Okay, so this one's gonna be 21 inches wide. By
Okay,
30.
which one are we on now? Only because I got a little caught up with my
20 by 30.
20 by 30. And that's for the,
20,
the outside.
21 by
Oh.
30.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're just cutting 21 by 30.
For the outside fabric.
This is the
Yes, ma'am.
outside fabric. If you feel like you can cut them both at the same time, that's fine too. I always figure this is like the chores, the kind of stuff you have to get done before you can have fun. Oops. So is everybody cutting? Well, I'm sorry, not everybody, but.
I'm watching and then I'm gonna cut later.
Yep.
I need a bigger area.
This is frustrating trying to cut these big pieces on small areas.
And I write on the back of this too. I write A. That way I remember. And I don't have to remeasure. Now I need a 21 by 24. No. Margie's shop is in the middle of our statewide shop house, so it's been crazy here. And of course, none of them came in until the show was about to start, or the class was about to start.
Well, see, I didn't know you were open today. I thought on the card it said you started on the 12th.
Oh, no, did it?
Yeah, on the card it says your shop opens on the 12th, Monday.
Oh, no, it opened last week or last Thursday. Crazy. You know one thing, we need a new blade. There. And then when you get those two cut out, then we'll flip the fabric around to the other side and we'll do it the long ways. But I'm going to have to straighten my head. And that one is 20 by 37, like we cut the soft and stable. And what we're doing is cutting the fabric that we're gonna quilt.
Are you hearing Carol?
Is she talking now?
She can't, her video is not on. We still have the same problem.
Can you get her video? Here, she's talking.
Carol, I don't think we're hearing you.
Seeing her. Or hearing her.
Yeah, either one. She's on, but she's not.
I think she touched the buttons when she signed on.
You may have to go out, Margie, and come back in.
Maybe I just don't want to.
Oh, there's
Hi,
somebody.
Carol. Yeah, that
Is
was
that her?
Carol. That's
We got
Carol,
her.
yeah. We have voice
Yay.
but no picture.
Can you see the video though, Carol?
Yes.
Yay. We just don't get to see your smiling face.
Down. Carol, at the bottom of the screen,
On the right-hand
Or
side,
your,
hit the
um,
camera.
if you push right up on the black, it'll say start video, and try that and see if that'll get your video started.
Well, she can see the video. She doesn't have her camera on.
I know, it's that starts her video.
Oh. I just hit the camera when I minus myself out.
Well, I mean, I don't know what I'm in now, but
All you have to do, hon, is look on the bottom and see a little blue circle with a camera like thing in there and hit that.
it depends on what device is she on. Is she on a
That's
phone?
true.
Is she on a tablet or is she on a computer? Carol, which
I'm on an
device are you
iPhone or iPad.
I'm on an Android phone. Okay, so what you have to do is you just click on the screen. And you should see it at the bottom. The phones are really hard to work with, I noticed, for doing Zoom meetings.
Thank you, hon, for helping.
They are because you can't see everybody.
No, you can't. And on a phone, the buttons disappear and you have to click on it. And if you actually want to chat, you have to click on another button to get there.
Yeah.
So Bobby, can I ask a question? How did
Absolutely.
when you cut the 21 by 30, because I don't want to be short on fabric,
Okay.
which way did you actually cut that 21 by 30? Did you cut it
Okay.
width way or length?
I cut it. Now I gotta think. Let me play this up here.
Sorry.
No. Good question. Okay, so let's try it. Let me think about that. So this is,
Okay, your selvage is running lengthwise then.
no, it was running,
Salvage was the other way.
It is
running-
the other way, okay.
yeah. And I cut 21 wide, or you can do it lengthwise too, but I cut 21 wide and then 30 up. 30 length or 30 on the selvage. And then
Okay.
24 over here. And then I use that end to do my 20 by 30.
Okay, so you did your,
Flip it around.
so you went over 21 and up 30,
Yes.
and then over 24 and up 30.
No, over 21 and then up 30, and then over 21 and up 24.
Perfect, okay.
Because you
thank
only have 42 inches, or
Right,
I don't know. At least I only have 42.
yes, me too.
Yeah. I don't. But yeah, I'll cut my 21 by 30 right here. Yeah, when I watched her video, she said to cut them all length of fabric, right? Is that what you said, or width of
With
fabric?
crosswise.
But you can't do that. You can't cut 21, 20, and 21 in 54 inches. I don't care who you are. So I'm gonna text her and ask her for some clarification, but it really doesn't matter. But it was like, I even watched it again this afternoon because I thought maybe I heard that wrong. You can always go out and watch her video. I like watching Annie. She's quite a gal. One thing, she's very knowledgeable. I always watch her zipper video before I try to load zipper heads because I can't, or tabs. I can't remember how to do it every time. So yeah, so now I'm gonna cut 21 inches across. And I'm gonna go up 30 inches high on this. It's weird to use this ruler. My ruler at home is broken on one end, so I have to be careful I don't use the crooked end. Margie has better stuff. But yeah, even though my feathers are directional, I'm just not gonna sweat the small stuff because the inside of my bag is gonna be busy enough anyway. That I'm just not gonna worry about it. Now on my city lights, I did not want the city upside down on one side of my bag. That was a big deal to me. This, not a big deal. Because this is the inside of my bag and hopefully nobody but me is looking in it. I suppose the airport guys, but. Looks like we're needing a new blade. Okay, so that was A. I need to mark that A. And then I need to cut 21 across and 24 up this time.
Easier said than done. When you have smaller cutting spaces.
And I was really lucky because I was cutting my city lights here at the shop and I needed another quarter yard. Geez, directional's tough. And I don't mean directional that, I mean, it was just those cities could not be upside down. Or I would have been intense. I think. Okay, so 21, 24. And after I cut B, which is the 21 by 24, now I'm gonna flip it around and cut my long way, my long 20 by 37. But again, I'm gonna write B on the back of this because nobody will ever see the back. And it's just easier. Oops, I'll flip it around. And this one is 20 by 37. So I'm going to cut it this direction. And like I said, I'm just counting on these feathers being walled enough. It doesn't matter which way they go. And I don't think it will. Margie doesn't like the feathers. I'm just telling tales out of school, but I love the feathers. I think with Kate, it's either a love or hate relationship. But I can remember 20 years ago going to market when Kate wasn't that popular. And I can remember a lot of the shop owners going, that wild fabric will never sell. And now look at it. So you never know. It's hard to know what will sell and what won't, that's for sure.
Bobby, do you know if the powder came in?
It has not come in. I'm gonna do a little infomercial here too.
Okay, I called around to a couple of quilt shops and somebody said they have like these sheets that you use.
Yeah, I throw a sheet over everything, an actual bed sheet. They have a Teflon sheet, and that's so if you get some off to the side, your fabric won't stick to it.
No,
I
they
got
said,
some of this on a show. This isn't what Margie's getting in. She's getting in the free fuse basing powder. This was crap.
okay,
I mean, it was crap. So if you see this Bone Ash, use it, walk away. It was cheap. This big deal was $7.95. And I thought, wow, that's a good deal. Except that I tried it on my first set and then I went to lay it down and the bottom was hanging down. And I thought, okay. So I went back to my spray.
so
I
is it
What?
is it 505?
What I just use, let me look what it is.
It's over the shelf.
Oh.
Hang on, she went to get it
Okay, thank you.
on the bottom shelf.
Well, that's what I have, isn't it? Oh, this is Sullivan's. I just use Sullivan's. It's Sullivan's quilt basting spray.
Okay,
And what I do, and you'll see, because we're gonna put these together, I throw a sheet over and I even like set a chair. If I'm at home, I make sure, I do it on my big ironing board, but I make sure that my sheet goes even further than that. And then I spray. But you can get really high on this stuff because it is a glue. So kind of have to be careful that way.
That's one thing we cannot send through the mail.
Yeah, it's unmailable, I guess. Because you're not supposed to send anything that can explode.
Pressurized.
And that's why they ask you, is there anything, when you go to the post office? They don't hardly ask me anymore because I mail my quilts off to be quilted. Okay, so let's keep cutting this baby. But like I said, this is the tedious part. I really do like her labels though. I really do like that she has those labels. Because so many projects you get into and you cut the pieces ahead of time and lay them up there, and then you have to leave a ruler laying there to figure out which piece it is. And sometimes you use the wrong piece. At least I do. I may have to make Margie a blouse out of this.
What?
Out of the green feathers. I may have to make you a blouse. What do you think?
Never know.
Okay.
Might look really cute on Margie, you never know.
I know. He needs to liven up a little.
Really? Well, we can't have two mics on, so.
Okay, so are you cutting your lining or your second fabric too already?
Yes, this is my second fabric.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I cut my first fabric wrong, so I had to piece a piece together to make it work, but it'll be fine. So
Yep.
I'm gonna try not to cut it wrong this time. So
Right.
when I lay it out, am I
Yeah.
gonna have my salvages on my right and my left, or my top and my bottom?
I laid it so my salvages are on my right and my left, and I
Okay.
cut 21 inches over, and then 30 inches up, and then 21 inches over, and 24 inches up.
But with it unfolded. Like,
Right,
Right.
right.
so
So
21 inches up and 30 inches over.
so that's your, which is your selvage side on the,
Right here.
okay. Yep, so 21 inches with the line, and then across 24 inches and 30 inches. I always cut the 30 first, but yeah,
21 inches along the selvage.
21 inches along the selvage. No,
21 inches.
no, Margie,
I'm sorry.
no, no, you're gonna cut pretty much the whole piece, because you're gonna cut 21 inches wide from that selvage. You're gonna cut 30 inches up that selvage.
So if I lay it right here and I go 30 inches over,
Nope, 21 inches over.
21 inches over, and I go all the way down,
No, 30 inches down.
okay, from here to here, 21, and then from here down 30 inches.
Right,
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
don't go any further. Hold on, let me do that.
okay.
I think she asked you if it's folded.
No, you don't fold it.
You
Yeah, don't fold it.
Don't fold it.
Okay, 21 over, 30 up.
Right.
Okay.
Because you need that other 21.
Up, 30.
You can't see. See, we need it so that I can see everybody.
What do you want to do? You can turn this so you can see. Like this.
So how's everybody else coming?
Great.
Nancy's
Hey.
cutting.
I hate cutting, so I always make sure I check it 5 times over before
I
I
know.
do it.
I know. I know.
Coming along, just taking my time cutting it.
Good, good.
So it's a total of 430 by 21?
It's a total of 21 by 30, 21 by
Two times?
24. No, 21 by 24. And that's your other half of that piece. And then flip it around and you're gonna have 20 by 37 going the other way.
You always turn this way. so you can-
But I always put the better thing outside than the blue door.
You need that closer to you. I'm not sure where else we would put it. That's great.
It's fun to see everybody's sewing rooms.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay, so
mine's-
now I'm gonna
Mine's
cut. the
always
next-
a mess. And Margie's always yelling at me because there's always pins on the floor.
It drips them.
I drip them, she says.
All right, so now that I've got that first one cut,
Yep.
do I turn the fabric for the next one?
No, you're gonna cut 21 more inches by 24 up.
Okay.
There should be 21 more inches there. Even if it includes a little selvage, because some fabric's only like 40. It's okay, because she gives us a lot of grace on the outside of this. So it'll be okay. Yeah, so you're cutting it again, the 21. You're cutting it over at 21 again, just like your 30, but you won't go clear up to where you cut your 30. You'll only go 24. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a pretty nice day here. Is anybody getting rain? No?
Beautiful blue sky.
Yep.
Yeah, we do too.
Believe it or not,
New Jersey
Washington's not
rain.
raining. It's sunny.
I love your landscape.
It's Chelan, Washington. It's actually Eastern Washington where my husband grew up.
That is so cool.
Because I'm in the loft and it's an open area, but my sewing room's like a whole top floor. So.
Oh, cool.
nice.
I
See,
have a
my
huge-
son is buying a house and he said, and there's 900 feet upstairs that they said you could turn into something. I said, oh, what a great sewing room. He said,
Yeah.
well, I don't think that's what it's going to turn into. But that's what I thought. Wow, 900 feet of sewing room. I could live with that.
Mine's my kitchen table.
I know. The good thing about doing it like at the kitchen table though is you clean up your mess. In your sewing room, you shut off the light and go to bed. I mean, you're just like, I'm too tired to deal with this tonight.
I live by
So-
myself, so I get sloppy sometimes.
Oh, well,
My, since I have to work at home, my other table that I use to sew on has all my computers on it.
oh, sure. So you guys are still working from home?
Yeah, I don't think our office will ever open. I was traveling before for work, so I'm not,
California.
Oh, wow.
and I'm in California, so we're still, and my boss doesn't think we'll ever go back to the office because our offices are all over. I'm a drafter, so I just get everybody's work.
Wow. See, do you think production's as good at home as it is at a workplace? See, I don't either. But I do think bosses like it so much, they're overlooking that. But my brother ended up they went back to work because they had two people that they couldn't keep working all day. And they
Yeah.
were good workers at work, but he said at home, they were just not performing.
If
So-
I have work, then I'm fine working at home, but that one-on-one with like the engineers and stuff, it's different.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah, that video it's not the same.
No,
Of course, a lot of your drafting's done on computer now, isn't it?
everything is.
Everything is. I
Yeah.
took drafting in high school. I love drafting, but yeah, that's when we used to do it with.
That's how I started manual drafting.
Really? Yeah. I always thought it was kind of fun. I went into architecture, but I'm not an artist. That's why I have trouble machine quilting. I think you have to be an artist to like loop-de-loo and do all the, I can't do it.
And
This
coordinated.
Straight
And
lines.
coordinated.
Yeah. I'm not that either.
Me either.
All righty, so are you ready? How are we doing?
I think Nancy's about ready.
Okay. What you can do while you're waiting is make your 3 stacks. You don't have to sandwich it right now, but put all your A's in one pile, your B's in one pile, and your C's in one pile. And then we'll just start working with like the, probably the A's. But for right now, they just need to be together.
And then what side did you cut the 20 by 37? Above
flipped-
the,
The long ways, the front, like the,
That's all right.
salvage to salvage. So I flipped that around and I cut it salvage to salvage 37 inches.
okay, on top of the 20 or the 30 piece?
Right. Right. You should have plenty up there, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Perfect.
thank you.
Michelle, you look magical. You're kind of going in and out. So it looks like you're
I
doing
thought you
magic.
grabbed the fabric from the background.
Yeah, the virtual background does that when you move around, and I was moving fabric on my table, so yeah. That's
Kind of
what
cool.
happened. It's still better than looking at my light hanging, my chandelier in my
Oh.
foyer.
Hey, are we still just on the lining and the main fabric? We haven't done the coordinating, right?
No. Nope.
Okay.
We're gonna get these sandwiched together.
Should we be doing that now?
Does everybody have something to baste with? And you don't have to use spray and you don't have to use powder. You can always pin. But we're gonna sandwich these together and then clip them around the outside and set them aside.
What was that
I-
stuff called again?
The spray,
Yeah.
this is just Sullivan's quilt basting spray. I also have, oh, let's see if I can reach it without tearing the phone down.
I
think
use
this one is-
washable blue.
I think this one is June Taylor. June Taylor has one too. June Taylor does everything. But this is quilt basting spray. And they're both pretty safe. They both just either wear off or wash off, but they pretty much wear off. After about 6 weeks, when I started up on that other one, it wasn't sticking anymore. So that was a good thing for me. I mean, I was kind of glad to see that.
And then the 505.
This June Taylor.
So can you, so. the
Yeah,
quilt-
and then there's 505 too.
Okay, one of the quilting stores I called, they carry the 505.
Yep.
Okay.
That works. That
Okay.
works. Yeah, I was kind of anxious to try this new powder because I thought my sewing room, half of my sewing room is my mother's bedroom. And I thought, well, then she won't have to smell this all night long. Well, then she had to anyway. So,
Nancy may have a question.
oh,
So did you want us to go ahead and sandwich like this piece,
okay.
table, and then the other piece?
You can, or just get them laid in a pile and then fold up. Let's fold up C and set it aside. And fold up B, and we're gonna start with A.
Okay. And this one.
I gotta get my sheets. You don't want this spray on your table, do you? What? I said, you don't want the spray on your table, do you?
Probably not.
And I just use old sheets. They work good. I bought them at a thrift sale, I think. These are what I use in my camper to close it up, so. And you can pretty directionally spray this stuff. I mean, it doesn't, I'm not saying it gets all over. You can pretty well directionally spray it. The other thing I like to do is start one about part way, or start one and then I'll scoot it down as I go. And that way I'm not gluing on glue. But yeah, otherwise, if you want to, I mean, you can just pin it. And as you're quilting, you just keep pulling the pins out. But yeah, we'll put our back fabric upside down. Or actually, what we're going to do is we're going to put our soft and stable down, and we're going to adhere our back fabric to it. So we'll just set this one aside. I'm just going to stay with my June Taylor because that's mine. I don't want. I lay this out on that piece of soft and stable.
That's your lining.
That's my line. Yeah, I always do the backs first. I don't know why. It's just a habit. But kind of get it to the edges. If it's not exactly to the edge, like I told you, it's not going to matter. She gives us quite a bit of down space. Then I just peel it back and spray. I spray it pretty good, mainly because I'm not a good machine quilter. But we'll also sew around the outside of these, which I didn't do on my first bag, nor does she tell you to do it. But man, it sure kept it from creeping, especially where you're just sewing lines. It tends to creep one direction or the other, and it kept it from doing that. Yeah, we'll just need to smooth it out. Nope. Must have shifted. Nope. And see, now when I hold it up, it's not going to come off. But I always do the top last. Like I said, I don't know why. Maybe I had a class that told me that, or one thing about classes, everybody tells you something different. So you end up doing what you believe. And I don't know why I always put the lid right back on. I don't do a lot of machine quilting, so I'm not real adept with what's out there. I have a long arm with a robotic long arm, and the guy that developed it skipped the country about the time everybody went down. I think there was a lifespan on him. So now I've got a long arm and no way to sew. Like I told you, I'm not artistic. I can't do that free motion stuff. Okay.
Can we
so
free motion this?
Sure. Absolutely. If you want to, you bet. Yeah, like I said, once it's hooked together, and then I'll grab some clips and I just go around the outside of it. But like I said, there's a little, I mean, there's some overhang.
Oh, hello.
Hi. And I just clip, you know, not real close together, but close enough to while it's resting. But yes, I mean, boy, free motion. I thought about doing that with my city lights, but I'm just not good enough to do it. And there was, yeah, I don't know, I must have cut that long. And so there was no reason to ruin it. I can sew a straight line, well, somewhat straight. But man, I cannot sew like flowers and doodads, and I sure can't stipple. Everybody always says that's so easy, but it is not.
It is.
Oh my
It's
God.
not.
Just think of puzzle pieces while you're doing it.
Yeah, next thing I know, I sew over my line. I don't know. But then I just clip her on the outside some, or you can pin her on the outside. You can do it either way. And then we just set that one aside. And we're ready to move on to B. And like I said, I'm going to pull my sheet, I'm going to fold it and pull it forward so that I'm not getting glue on the back of my next piece.
We have a new.
Okay.
To the left. Thank you. And then we'll need a new, she needs a bag. Why don't you go get that? I'll go to the-
Okay.
You take it. She's got a bag. She wants to do it, so I need to get that. You need to get that? You have one.
Yeah, boy, if you can, you bet, if you can machine quilt it, and a lot of things look really cool. I mean, plus you can take the two pieces of fabric and take it to a quilter and get it machine quilted. But I don't know about your turnaround time, but our turnaround time's not real great.
We're having a.
I have to, oh, that's not mine. I have to beg, I had to beg to get all my t-shirt quilts back before graduation. But two are back and one's on the way, so that's good. All right. And you can always feel right where it's already been glued, because it will, then you just throw these sheets in the washer and they come out without the glue. I mean, it's great. I almost feel like that piece is a little short. Yeah. We'll move on. But I'm wanting to try Bianni's duffel too. I think the duffel looks really good. I think it looks like a good bag to make like for grandkids. I'm not sure that this one is a grandkid bag, but oh, come on.
15.
And if you get a little wrinkle in it, just pick it up or just pull it up from the edge and pop it out.
Yes, I'll take it.
And this stuff lasts forever when you get a bottle of it. I can't even remember when I got it, so.
Okay, I have a new bottle and I'm spraying on my second one and it kind of stopped spraying and it's
Really?
full.
Did you shake it? Put it under some hot
Yeah.
water. Try
Okay.
putting the nozzle under some hot water.
Okay, thanks.
Because sometimes they do clog up.
Okay.
It better not quit spraying already. It's like all quilting stuff. Nothing's cheap in quilting. And again, I'm gonna go and
You don't have to fill it all out right now, just so that you.
No, that soft and stable is really expensive.
that what?
Soft and stable.
Oh, it is expensive.
Amazing how often is that?
But man, it just holds up so good. Somebody told me though that there's a foam like this though that is fusible. But I went online for fusible foam and I couldn't find it. But that would be nice if you didn't have to do all this.
It's called Bosal. Bosal.
Really? And it's
Yep.
fus-
Yep, and it comes on a roll because I have 3 rolls of it.
Is it fusible on both sides?
No, I
Oh,
don't think so.
yeah.
I think it
Well,
was one-
one side would be great. but
So-
you could
Yeah, I think it's one side.
Joanne
Yeah.
Fabrics carries a Pellon brand that's fusible on both sides. And every couple of weeks, Joanne Fabrics has all their Pelons on sale, which this coming weekend, it's all gonna be 50% off.
Wow.
Thank you.
And you can
Wow.
get the Bozal. The Bozal comes unfusible, single and double sided. You just gotta
Yep.
find it. It's hard
Yep.
to find.
Oh, it's hard to find.
Sometimes, yeah.
Our local fabric store went out of business before COVID hit. She was retiring anyway and was looking forward to doing it for like a couple of years, but I bought them like 3 rolls, like
Wow.
40% off.
Oh, wow. So how does it compare to price with Soft and Stable? Is the fusible higher?
Yeah, fusible, but you know, I run a quilt group and I have a gal that actually has a long arm business and she has a resale certificate. And just looking at By Annie's, I'm like, oh my gosh, she wants $250 for a whole roll of it. And she said, well, yeah, I can get it for $150. I think in the stores, unless you buy it on sale here, it's expensive.
It is.
Just to buy a big, and I'm big into when Joann's does have them on sale, I buy things by the bolt.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the freight to get them in. I know Margie was saying the freight to just get Soft and Stable in is crazy because that's not even with freight. By Annie likes her stuff. But I have to say, her zippers are probably some of the best I've ever worked with. I think
Okay.
A lot of
I think
people
they're worth
said that.
So I found the Bozal and it was marked price at $13.50. It is double sided and it's 20 by 58, and that is less, but that is less expensive than By Annie's. That's non-fusible.
Huh.
And it's a roll.
And Joanne Fabrics has their single-sided fusible right now. If you were to buy a 10-yard bolt of 20 wide, it's $104.
Wow.
Next weekend, that will be on sale for 50% off.
It will?
Yes, on the 15th.
Wow. Yeah, I can see why quilt shops can't make it in a town with those places. It's just like the great big quilt shows, you know, some of them can offer such a good deal and it's like, how do they do that? We're just a small little place in O'Neill, Nebraska. As a matter of fact, there is not a quilt store west of us anymore. Except if you get out to like Alliance and North Platte and Hemingford and what, Margie?
Couple 100 miles.
Yeah, it's a couple 100 miles and it's 100 miles to Norfolk to the nearest Hobby Lobby or Walmart, but I don't always consider Walmart supplies very decent. I've been stung at Walmart too many times.
We have a couple of fabric stores in New York, but the quality it's not really the greatest. I've run into even like just the 100% cottons, and all they do is fray and they're rough, and I mean, the quality is nothing like compared to what I get online.
Right.
But besides that, I have to go all the way to Long Island or something just to go to Joann's.
Oh, wow.
My sister does a lot of the quilting. She's in Virginia, and she has the Joann's out there. But I told her the online quality that I get, and even just the styles, is so much better than what the stores have now.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't make it, you know, there's lots of fabric, and don't get me wrong, but the quality to make stuff, it's not the same.
Oh, I know it. I know it. Well, and what I should have told you before we put all these clips on is to kind of trim it off. If you have a little bit hanging over somewhere, you know, trim it all even. And then before you start quilting it, sew around the edge 1/8 of an inch. And that really helped. I was amazed at how much that helped. But I pinned for years, well, back when I did any machine quilting, because that's what we did. I mean, we didn't have all this snazzy stuff.
I like
I'd
hand
never-
quilting.
Oh, do you? Margie does too. Margie does a lot of hand work.
Takes time, but it shows love. Is Margie in there with you?
Yeah, she's sitting here monitoring, making sure I
Mar-
don't swear or anything.
Margie,
You're the
it's
people in
met
the
with love, right?
No, actually, she's taking care of the shoppers. So,
Oh,
Is it hard to pin through that soft and stable?
no, but I would use, I mean, if you have flower pins, use them because they're just a little longer.
Okay.
I would use something that's flexible, or what are those, wonder pins? No, what are those? Longer magic pins, because they have more flexibility.
are those the ones with the rubber tips?
Yeah. Yeah, because they seem to be more flexible.
What
But
are they
yeah, you
called
can,
again?
they're called magic pins.
Do you sell them?
But it doesn't matter. I mean, just pin about every 3 inches and then come back and do it on the between them.
Too far over. When you're.
Oh,
Okay, Bobby,
Margie
you
said I'm too far
to
over.
trim it.
So if you would pin, you pin like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start over here and go 1, 2. So you're catching.
Different areas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Staggered.
Okay,
Yeah.
Bobby, you said when we were doing the soft and stable, that if we weren't exact, we were okay.
Yep.
Well, there's a couple spots where I'm a ½ inch off because I was trying to cut, on a smaller board.
That's okay.
So do I trim way down to the soft and stable?
Let me look at these. You have so much give or play in this. I mean, if you look at this, what piece is that on?
The big one, the 37 one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no,
yeah.
it's not. It's on one of them that's 21 wide because it's 20 and a half in a couple spots.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be plenty wide because we're cutting that piece 14 by 19. So you're going to
Oh.
have plenty of room. So yeah, it'll just be a lot easier to sew if you trim it down to that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. And then sew around. Do you guys shall we cut the coordinating fabric? Or where are we at? Okay. Okay, so like I said, now I always let these set if I spray them. If you pin them, it doesn't really matter, but make sure you sew that 1/8 an inch around the outside after you trim it. And then so that that'll hold it a lot when you are quilting. Okay. I think I'm going to use black, so that's what I'm going to use. And on this, on the coordinating fabric, we can cut a lot of it with the fold, with it folded. So even though I pressed my fold out, I'm going to put it back. Because we're going to want those handles 42 inches wide. We're going to want, I'm going to get this even down here. All right. So we're going to cut the zipper pulls, which are 1 inch. First, I'm gonna even up my end. If it doesn't matter who cuts fabric, it's never exactly square. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull out my sheet because as I'm cutting the coordinating fabric, I'm gonna be cutting out the little pieces. So right now I'm cutting the
Zipper pulls.
coordinating fabric and I'm cutting the, where is that? Zipper pulls. 1 by 42. It's at the very top. So I'm gonna cut 1 by 42 and then I'm gonna pin that to it. One of them. Yes, just one. And then I come over and I'm gonna cut that little piece out of here. And I do it with my rotary cutter. Don't tell my boss. And I grab a pin and I pin that.
So all the ones we just did with the soft and stable was all the main fabric?
Those are the ones that have to be quilted. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right, so now we're gonna cut the handles and the carrying strap and the carrying strap tabs 4 1/4 inches instead of 3 3/4, because that'll give us a little more play. So we need to cut 3 cuts across. Actually, we can cut 4 cuts across at 4 1/4 all the way across.
That was 4 1/4.
4 1/4, yeah. And that'll just give us a little more play. Because we're gonna do it, we are not gonna pull these handles through. We're going to do them an easier way.
What was the name of the next one after the 1 and 42 at 1 by 42?
The 1 by 42, what do you mean? What was the name of it?
No, what's the next one after that?
Oh, it's gonna be handles and carrying strap. It'll be the next 2 on the top row.
Feel my arm.
And tell me, you said cut them what?
Cut them 4 1/4 inches wide, 4 1/4 inches instead of 3 3/4.
Ice on it. You're irritating it by scratching it. We'll put a cold wash on it.
Even on the carrying strap doing 4 1/4?
Yep.
Okay.
But you can cut 4 1/4 4 times on your coordinating fabric.
And is it again for that?
What?
A reason?
Yes, the reason is it just gives us more room to play when we're covering our straps. Instead of sewing the strap piece and then pulling the strap through, I'll show you. We're going to fold it in half. We're going to wrap it around and it's just so much easier. And then we're going to sew. But you need a little extra fabric to do that. So 2 of these need to get cut to 42 inches. So I just cut them 21 inches long because then that's 42. Did I cut 4? Yeah, I did. Or maybe there's 3 of them at 42 inches. Is there 3? Oh, okay. There's 3 of them at 42 inches. Okay. But once you see how to do handles this way, it's so much easier than pulling them through. I hate pulling handles through. I mean, I have a bodkin, but I don't know. There's more to life than pulling handles. And this just, okay. So I have my 2 handles here and I'm going to pin my label on them. and set it up there. Okay, so the next piece. Move this over. The next piece, I'm cutting a carrying strap that's 4 1/4 by 18 inches. And that'll add to the carrying strap. We'll end up sewing that together. To make it long enough. Because I think it's like 50 some inches long, if I remember. And you just pin that 18-inch piece with the 42-inch. Oh, I didn't cut that to 42. Should have cut them all to 42 again. Now the 18-inch piece goes right with the 42-inch piece, and it says it on there. It says it on there that that's what you need. And then we have carrying strap tab, which is 4 1/4 by 14. There's going to be 2 of those, but we're not going to cut them both out of this.
Do you want us just to wait until you finish?
Okay, so 4 1/4 by 14.
Do what? We certainly have time. I didn't know if we have space to cut or you want us to wait a little bit to finish. Oh, no, she's gonna be done. So we'll just figure out. Okay, we can help you out with that. Too.
Okay, so I'm going to set that up here because I have to cut another one of those. And then I need the carrying strap pad bindings, which are 2 by 3 inches. So I'm going to cut it 3 by 6. You guys probably have more exciting coordinating fabrics than I do, that's for sure. Nothing like black. Okay. And that is the 2 by 3. And we're going to cut the bias binding square 22 by 22. And the reason we're going to do that is we're going to cut our binding. I wrote it on here somewhere. Am I in your way? We're going to cut our binding. I think they cut it 2, and we're going to cut it 2 1/4. And it's just so much, or 2 1/2. Maybe it was 2 1/4, and we're going to cut it 2 1/2. And that 1/4 of an inch makes such a world of difference.
On the carrying straps and the back strap, you want those to be 4 1/4 also?
Right. Yep. Anything that's going to go around the strap.
Three.
You guys didn't know you're going to get it on show today, did you?
That's great.
So you're cutting a 22 by 22 right now?
Right. So then
Okay.
open your fabric and cut your 22 by 22. Yep. Yep.
I think this would just be a little over 3. Okay, we'll check what you got. Yep. So measure from. Let's see, 40, 44. 44. Here. 44. 44 would be 8, right? 44 is 8, that's right. That's one.
Registering.
3 and a 4. Yeah, I'll hold it up. For you. Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, and then we'll cut out the piece for that. There's a binding strip piece. And actually, you can put the pieces on your, the ones that need to be quilted, the A, B, and C. I guess we didn't do that, but you could sure do that too. So that you know which one's A, which one's B, and which one's C. C is the very long one. Yeah, we should stick those on. Okay, which one is this? A.
Okay, so Bobby, for changes, all those 3 3/4 change to 4 1/4.
That's correct.
And then
Yeah.
are you changing another one?
Yes, the 20-inch square is now 22-inch square. And you'll have plenty of fabric. But make it 22 by 22 instead of 20 by 20.
Okay, the one that's 20 and a half by 20 and a half, the bias
Oh, yeah.
binding.
Yeah, make it 22. Yep,
Okay, all right, thanks.
yep. And we have extra coordinating fabric. We're also gonna make another change, and I'll tell you why. If you're gonna do the cotton pocket, which I'm guessing the zipper one is gonna be cotton. Well, we'll get to that. Let's just, so we need another 4 1/4 by 14. But the one thing that I was disappointed with was that
3 and 3/8.
she has you cut 2 pieces and then you have unfinished edges at the edge of your zipper. I think you're better off if you would cut
Isn't it?
1 piece and fold it in half. And then you would have that fold up by your zipper and you wouldn't have ravelings. Everything else in this bag is finished except that, and I don't understand that. Because
Make it 3.
everything else is finished. But I noticed on Rachel's bag, since she's been using it, that around the zipper, there's some threads unraveling, and it has to be because there's unfinished edges on the other side of the zipper. So we'll cut that a little different. But here we'll cut that other strap. What did I do? I don't know. So it just makes more sense to do it so that there's a finished edge against that zipper. Let's see, and this was how long? 14. Yeah, everywhere it says 3 3/4, we want to cut 4 1/4. All right, and that's the straps. Carrying strap tabs, I guess it is. Then we have a 9x17 stabilizer sleeve, which we'll probably take out of this set.
3.5 on that. See how much you got left on there. Pieces.
Okay, so on any changes, on that bias binding, the 22x22, was there a change on that?
Yeah, we're going to cut that. Let me get into my pattern. Wrote that down in here somewhere. When it tells you how to do the binding. We're a little ways away from the binding.
Oh, don't worry then. I thought y'all had already
No.
gone over it. Don't go into it
No,
yet
that's
then.
all right. I just can't remember. Because we'll do it next week.
On that one piece. And then this piece is-
When did I write that?
I think you said binding at 2.5.
I think it is. I'm just pretty sure.
You
it is.
wanted the extra.
Yes. So we'll
the
cut
bind- The binding for the pocket, is that the one?
Yes. No, the bindings of the pockets, we'll be cutting them 2 inches and that'll be plenty on them because it's just that little bit of fabric and soft and stable. It's when we get into where we're binding the whole inside and we have the front and the back and the binding, that's when we need just a little extra.
Okay, so other than those 3 and whatever they were, we have them to
Right. Everything, yeah, and the 2022.
everything else is the same.
Right. Right.
So are we moving on down and cut all these?
Yep. Yep. And they go fast because pretty soon we're going to be into cutting 2 2x9s, 2 2x7s. Once you get that big 22x22 cut, that's the big one. Well, I guess there's a 9x17 too for the sleeve. But yeah, and as you cut them, just pin the dealie to them. But I just go across what it's saying, especially now, because now you're just cutting pieces and parts.
Do you
So-
recommend cutting that 22x22 first before you do all the strips?
After you cut your handles and your, yes, after you cut your handles and your, carrying strap, then go ahead and cut that. I just pretty much follow her diagram. You know, she cut that, she cut the strip, the long strips first, and then she cut the 22x22. And then you use the other side of that for this. And then you have several. I mean, you're gonna have extra yardage. So. And a lot of these are 2. So if you get to where you want to fold it in half and cut 2 at a time, I mean, it makes more sense really. But. And the nice thing about these is we're just gonna stick them in a bag and set them aside and use them as we use them. I mean, we don't have to quilt these. And that's one thing we should talk about. Do we want to quilt next week as a group? Do you want to quilt during the week? What do you want to do? It makes no difference to me. Okay.
No, I don't mind quilting. I just don't know how to do it. I've never done it before.
Okay. And so next week, do you just want to quilt these 3 pieces together?
If you explain how to quilt, I don't mind quilting it during the week.
The biggest thing is, where are my pins?
I don't know what direction to quilt.
Oh, you'll quilt the longest way on all of them.
Just straight seams?
Straight seams. I use the edge of my walking foot as a guide, but a lot of people have those bar thingies, and you quilt 3/4 to 1 inch in width.
That's what I use. So I make a line down the center.
Right.
Then I
Right.
make
draw
that
my first
line, and then I
Yeah.
use my guide on my walking foot, and I set it up to whatever I want, and I move it
Right.
over, and I just do straight lines all the way down.
You
Yep.
start center?
Always start in the center. And if you've sewed that 1/8 inch around all the way around that square, because then you'll flip it over and you'll be sewing the other direction on the other half.
Okay.
Because unless you can move your deal over to the other side, which would be a pain. So then just sew from the bottom to the top instead of the top, there is no top, there is no bottom, but yeah, you just sew a straight line. My
And-
lines are not straight,
And
completely
the
straight.
guide will go on the left side of your walking foot, because I just did it yesterday.
Oh, it
Okay.
will.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a hole on either side, so you can do center. And what I ended up, because I was making a clam nut bag, and I did the center down, and I was gonna do center up. The problem is it had too many seam lines, and I didn't want that in my project. So unfortunately, you do have to go top to bottom, but do go middle out, so you can.
Right.
Of
Okay.
course, I wasn't using the basting spray, and I'm gonna use the spray this time.
Yes. So, it
because
helps.
Because on the clam nut bags, you don't do that 1/8 inch until after you quilted, because on you quilt it, then you cut it. So
They say that here too, but I thought it kept it from creeping down. The first time I made it, the top creeped down a little bit, or maybe it was the bottom, I don't know. But
okay,
when I
That's-
sewed it, it seemed like it held a lot better.
okay, that's what I was wondering, because on the 1/8 inch, I didn't want it to bunch up in the center.
Right. I made sure it was leveled out, but I didn't have any bunching in the center. But yeah, I mean, that's, like I said, that's a preference. Let me show you some different things.
Well, and if you did the basting spray and did the 1/8 inch, then your quilting will be easy to do from top to bottom. From
Right.
center out, and you won't have that. So that sounds like a good idea then.
It holds it so good.
Okay,
And I've never used a walking foot, so.
I mean, but find the center of your deal and draw a line from top to bottom. And you can either use like one of these fine liners. I don't have good luck seeing those on dark fabrics. It doesn't matter how good I put it on. Or use a Choco pen, or a Choco liner, or a Choco liner will mark the seam. Or you can use a bar of soap. If you have a skinny bar of soap, you can use that. Or if you're really good at sewing straight, you can mark a pin at the bottom and a pin at the top. I'm not that good.
So
that's-
you said the long way, so like the 30 inch and the 24 inch and the 37 inch, we go that
Right.
way?
Sew the
Okay.
long. That'll look the best on your bag. Yep.
2.5.
Yep.
Oh, it's not bad.
So is that the consensus? We want to quilt this week, or are people too busy to do that during the week? I mean,
I can go either way. Doesn't-
What?
whichever, you know.
The quilting sounds good to me.
Okay. So then we'll be ready to start, we'll be ready to cut it out and start going.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry, I got disconnected. My computer died.
Oh,
So,
no.
so we're gonna go top to bottom.
Yes, the long way.
short
Just,
or the long way.
you want to go the longest way. Yep. Yep.
So the fewer times we have to start sewing.
That's correct.
Okay,
That's correct.
3.
I'll tell you what, let's do one more now.
Wait, go one more, 4. Okay.
So are we gonna use a walking foot through the whole thing?
I would use a walking foot if you have one. I used it for the whole thing because when you start sewing this bag together, there's a lot of thicknesses. I mean, when you're sewing your pockets on, you don't want them to shift. I used a walking foot to make the whole bag.
4 3/4.
Because I'm not sure, yeah, I'm not sure if my machine will go through, and I have my mom's old one that will work, but it doesn't have a walking foot.
Well, and some of those older machines do pretty well.
It's a
Well,
Bermuda, or whatever it is.
Bernina. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, some of them are better than,
I'm getting there now for it.
No, I don't think so.
and what we'll do is we'll cut out all this other stuff next week right away, like the fold over elastic and the strapping, because you'll have it by then. Okay. 207, 209.
So next week we'll be cutting out all the other stuff we get, and then you're thinking that we're gonna do quilting?
Do you want, what they were thinking was they wanted to quilt during the week, but we could do just quilt next weekend.
Don't-
Next,
I'm okay with whatever. I'm unemployed. I got laid off because of COVID, so I'm open, but I'm also leaving for camping Wednesday, and I don't come back till Monday. So I was trying to decide what I need to bring with me because I have enough place to sew in my RV. So I wanted just to be prepared. Of course, if I don't get my package before I leave Wednesday, that might not happen anyway.
you should,
Okay.
should, but at least get it quilted.
Oh, you're welcome.
At
Okay.
least get the pieces quilted, and then you can, I mean,
You're just back.
it shows you how to cut them, and then you sew around each piece. And that's probably as far as we'll get next week, is to cut all the other things and sew around each piece.
Okay, and then you, like you said on this one, you said cut or sew the 1/8 inch and then do your quilting.
I had really good luck doing that.
Okay.
You know, I had one spot that it tucked a little bit, and what I did was I stuck a pin there, and I made sure when I cut out my pieces, I didn't cut there. So it's not gonna show. But I
Okay.
only had one tuck in all those pieces that I sewed, so
Okay.
I was really happy with it. But I think it's the basting spray that's holding it.
Yeah, and I haven't
know?
used the basting spray before. When I was
Yeah.
doing it, that's why I always quilted it first and then did that 1/8. But then again, you cut out the actual shape after it, which we cut
Right.
out previous, so.
Right.
What stitch length do you use for the basting on the outside of all the way around?
I use a 3.0.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep, because it's really not doing anything. As a matter of fact, when I quilted with a 3.0. Because it's pulling so hard anyway, your stitch length's gonna get short. So it's easier on your machine if you shorten it for it a little bit. But I used a 3 all the way.
And
Now,
what was
when-
the space?
when-
What
What?
was the space between the quilting? Because it was an inch, you said?
Vianney says from 3/4 to an inch. So however you set your guide, it's gonna be
Oh,
good. I wouldn't go
okay.
over an inch. I
Okay,
mean, I just wouldn't go over that.
okay, thank you.
Yes, because of the wear and tear. I mean, this is gonna be a bag you're gonna be hauling around. Somebody's probably gonna be going through it. You gotta put it through the machines, you know, if you're gonna travel.
I doubt that'll be me.
That's too bad. See, it's, in all honesty, it's so hard for us to even understand what's going on in the rest of the country. And
I
that's really
know.
sad.
I know.
We just don't know. I mean, it's really, I don't know. I mean, I wish it would get over.
Me too.
Yeah, I've been trying to fly to Florida for over a year now.
Oh my gosh.
I keep changing it every couple of months.
Oh my gosh. Now, can you fly if you've had a vaccine, or Florida just won't let you in?
No, they'll let me in. I just don't want to affect my grandkids and my son and his wife. So, and I don't want to get sick, but I got my shot. So
Sure.
I'm going in May, the end of May, I hope.
Good.
We had an Alaskan cruise scheduled last July, and then it got rescheduled this September. And then they just told us that because the ships aren't going to any port, we can't get into Canada, and that's our last stop.
Gosh.
Yeah, they just canceled it, and we've
Oh,
had the trip
no.
before for
Oh,
over 2 years now. So
oh my gosh. I think of all the places where this could really spread bad though is on a ship. You know, you're all sucking in the same air. I don't know. Although we have a family cruise planned for Christmas, we haven't heard anything yet, but I don't know. I guess I'm not gonna hold my breath.
it's what they did is they took that ship and they moved it to a different itinerary that was allowing people into ports. It's because our last stop was Canada, and they're not letting anybody in, and they're closed for probably, I think, until next year. That's why.
Oh, geez.
Canada is? Wow.
Yeah. We haven't been able to get in and out of Canada, and we're where we live, we're actually only 2 hours away. My husband actually has an aunt there.
Oh.
But they closed the border, and it's been closed, and they don't think they're opening until next year.
Oh my God.
Yes, the border, I'm about 10 minutes away from the Canadian border here in New York, and they've just closed the province of Ontario for an additional month. So it's been closed for over a year already.
So is it because it's so bad there, or they don't
In
want it?
Ontario, yes, they say there's a third wave now in Ontario, and actually the county that I live in, we are the highest rates that we've had the entire year of COVID. It's absolutely insane.
Oh my gosh.
So everything's closed?
No, a lot of the Canadian border is closed. The rates of the individuals who are showing positive tests are young children now. Most of the elderly population, 65 and older, not that that's old, but that's what they say, the elderly population, they have been vaccinated. The vaccines are not available yet for the younger population, unfortunately.
Right. Wow.
Ours is available for 16 and over now.
Yeah,
Nice.
ours is 18 and over here, and we have plenty of vaccine in Nebraska.
Because they wanted kids to go back to school by the 19th of April. So most of them went back and then had spring break.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Our kids have been in school all year. They haven't, they were only home last year.
I'm a
But-
nurse, and we have been in schools the entire time, but I'm down here in Texas.
Yeah.
What part of Texas?
I'm in San Antonio.
Okay.
Where at in Texas?
In San Antonio.
Oh, okay. We're in Longview.
Oh, nice. We're neighbors.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my companies is in Longview.
Oh, really? Which company?
Glenmont Global.
Okay.
GGS.
I work for Letourneau University.
I think these kids are really gonna suffer from this, though. They had a deal in Hastings, Nebraska, where they either they could let them go to school or they could go virtually. And after Christmas, the superintendent said, everybody's coming back. He said, there's such a difference between the homeschool or the virtual kids and the school taught kids that they have to come back. So.
Yeah, it's true. That's what we found as well.
Really?
My grandkids in New York, they went back and they were there 2 days. Went back to virtual, went back again. It was about 3 times and my daughter said, that's it. You gotta
Yeah.
stay home. And they're just so bored. It's like there's not enough you can possibly do with them because they miss the socialization. You know,
Right.
the friends, the kids,
Right.
you know, it's
You
hard.
bet.
It's so hard for these kids. I feel so
It
bad
is
for
hard.
them.
It is hard. So how's everybody coming with the coordinating fabric?
Just about done.
Oh,
Is
That's a
there
lot
any
easier.
changes to the lining fabric cuts or are they gonna be the same?
what now?
The lining, the inside lining, are they the same, the 30 by
Yes,
21?
everything's the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, Bobby, were you the one that picked out all the material, the matching, the cord? So I got the one with the peacock one on it, the green, the turquoise. I'm not sure which one I should. So I got.
Oh, that isn't what you wanted?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure which one to put for the coordinating and which one to put the lining.
Oh, okay.
Let me get it.
I love that cow.
Oh, thank you.
I
So-
said the same thing.
So I wasn't sure if I should do this for the binding, I mean, for the outer, and then do this one for the inside. I don't know what your thought was when you put it together.
Well, it's how bright you want it. If you want it really bright, the pink handles are gonna make it really pop. You gotta remember the inside fabric is just gonna be seen by you. I mean,
Okay.
it'll make whatever pop that you wanna pop because you're gonna be cutting it small enough that you're not gonna see it, that there's a peacock. You're not gonna see that.
Inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So
No, if you use that, but you could do it either way.
I want it to pop, so I should do the yellow, the pink for the outside.
For the
I-
handles.
The
For your
handles.
hand- Or for your coordinating. Yeah, I would do that. And
There
just
was
put the teal on the inside.
There were so many choices.
I
I
know,
like-
Margie
Huh?
was, when she came in, I'm like, I started sending them to her and she said, I didn't mean that you had to pick that many. I said, well, people are different. See, and I told her, you got to let these people pick out their own mesh and their own zippers. And she's like, well, you think? And I said, Margie, I have a navy blue bag that I cut out and I'm putting lime green zippers in it. And she's like, oh, you are not. So see, people are different. I mean,
Thanks.
yeah. I
I
mean, we're sisters and we're different. So I know that, you know, people know what they like. So, and they know what they want to see pop. You know, not everybody has the same color choices.
I
Oh,
had like my
I
basket.
messed up. The one I was gonna do for my lining is now my coordinating fabric, so
Really?
it is what it is.
It
Not
is
on
what it
purpose.
is.
Not on purpose, but it is what it is.
It'll be good though.
I
So
like the dragonfly one. That one was pretty.
the dragonfly, oh, I
Yeah.
like dragonflies a lot.
It was really hard to decide. I'll be making a whole bunch of these.
I am too. I just figure that's what I take my sewing machine up to the camper in the summer and they all go to the beach and go boating and it's hot. I sew. Now when they come back, the crock pots are done and we eat. But that's my getaway. I love to sew in my camper. So next week we want the quilting done, right? On the pieces and then we'll cut them and sew around all the individual pieces and mark them. All right?
Okay.
All right. So once we get this coordinating fabric cut, then that's all we're gonna do today. And hopefully your hand will be better by next week.
I hope so.
I do too. It's hard to
Get
lose
the
a
cast off
hand.
Friday. Get the cast off on Friday, so we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so.
Give us a quick rundown. Can you give me a quick rundown again on the quilting? Like exactly.
Yeah, you wanna quilt the longest way on every piece, the longest way. So you're gonna quilt the least amount of, so you're gonna quilt 37, 30, and 24 inches. Your quilting should be around, and you can do whatever you want. If you want to free motion it, have at it. Otherwise, she says to quilt straight down. So you mark a line down the middle of each piece, and then you'll quilt that line, and then you go over 3/4 up to 1 inch on each side of that line.
Okay.
And then you'll go the other way, but always start in the middle, because you don't want your fabric to shift on one side or shift on the other. But if you baste it or pin it really good, it's not going to shift on you. It really won't. Even pinning it won't shift on you. You just have the hassle of pulling the pins as you go, but it's not that big a deal.
And
It's
so
not.
once you go up and down the long way, then are you going to go the other way?
No, then you're done.
Just up and down.
Just up and down.
Okay.
Yep. We're just doing lines. Yeah. Yeah.
But
if you
go both ways
if you would
want.
rather, I mean, if you would rather cross hatch it or do something else, but this pattern says just to sew straight lines, and sew them 3/4 to 1 inch apart.
Okay.
So
She's
yeah.
allowing us to sew it however we wish.
Oh yeah. If you're good at that free motion, have at it. Yeah. I am just not. But if you're free motioning it, I would find a way to baste it really good, because if you're moving around and around, sewing up and down isn't near as movement as sewing around and around and whirly gigs and feathers, and I don't know what people do.
Yeah.
I'm not good at that. I'm not kidding. If I draw a stick man, people say, "What's that?" So, you know.
What did you go 3/4 of an inch, or did you go at an inch?
I went just like 1/8 of an inch past the edge of my walking foot, because I couldn't find my little bar.
Oh.
Right. So that's what I used. The
Oh.
first time I made it, I just used the edge. I have a really wide walking foot. It's a funky walking foot. But your machine should have a bar that you can stick in there.
My
and
machine
mark.
has a walking foot attached to it. It's a FOF, so it has this automatic.
Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Wow, that's
it's already
awesome.
automatically attached to it, so.
Oh, cool. Yeah. But
And once we cut out the 3 main pieces out of the lining and the main fabric, we're not gonna use the fabric for anything else, right?
right.
Good, because
I'm trying to think where we cut that pocket out of.
Then, or to do 8 different.
When we do the cloth pocket.
Then it gives you
Is
the
that out-
isn't that out of the coordinating fabric?
Well, I was just thinking it was, so.
It is, yeah. Pocket
Maybe
A,
that's why
pocket
you
B.
have to cut it. Maybe that's why you have to cut it 8 inches.
And then you sew.
Huh. Yeah, maybe that is the deal.
The other two.
Because on batik, it's really hard to see selvage to selvage. and
Oh, yeah. it is.
I cut my lining, so now I'm gonna have to really piece it together to get my 20 by 37.
And you can make your inside pocket mesh. I mean, that's not a problem. There's enough mesh to do that.
What if you
And
don't want to use the mesh?
if you don't want to, then, I mean, you can use, let's see how much we had left.
Pocket A and pocket B are part of the quilted fabric.
Oh, no, yeah, but I'm talking about the inside pocket. Pocket G and G1.
Oh, okay.
But that is 47. So you should have enough to cut those, because I think it was 21 by 8. We should have enough. I gotta think about it. I don't know why that didn't.
Here, if you're using the contrasting fabric for the pockets, then you need a 2 3-inch by 19 and 2 11-inch by 19.
Right.
2 8-inch by 20. I don't
Right.
have material for that.
I wonder what the deal is. Why is that? Why is that? Where's my other green? Where's her? Yeah, do it over here. Huh. With both of these, you should have that you could cut it. You might have the inside of the pocket different than the outside of the pocket, which would be cool anyway. But there, let me see if this is 19 inch. I better see the day it's gone by. 19, lick your fingers. 54, yeah. But on top of that, the difference between the 4 and the 34, and you should have, but let me investigate that. Don't cut up the rest of your fabric until we figure out what, I mean, don't use it for dust rags or anything. I don't know. I don't know if anybody does that, but we can get it out of all of our straps, the 3, 4 pieces. We just may have to. And see, those are things she doesn't even address, is where that's supposed to come out of.
People are ready to.
She doesn't even address it. So those are questions that need to be asked. But let me look, because if I could find my other green piece, where did I drop them? Maybe Margie took it. She does that stuff to me. Did you take my other green piece? With the flowers? Did we take what? The other green piece that had the flower, the one I cut off. Well, it was down here. Oh, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, so see, if you cut that, the 21 across and the 20, then you have enough of these 2 fabrics to do that, and enough of to go on down to get the 3 by, wasn't it 3 by 19 on down from the 21. So, but it's gonna be skimping and saving, that's for sure. Let me make sure that that's 3. Remember.
Are we gonna cut out of the quilted stuff on our own? Or
No, we're gonna do that next week and pin it, and then while we're here, I mean, after we do that, we're gonna sew around each piece and set it aside.
Okay.
And then we may go on, and then we're gonna cut out all the extra pieces too. Like
the circles.
Well, no, you don't cut the, well, maybe we do, but we're gonna cut out like the mesh, if you want a mesh pocket. We're gonna cut out like the elastic. We're gonna cut the strapping to size, and we're gonna pin all the things to them and mark them too, because there is a tab for each of those. So we'll get everything tabbed up. But let me work on this. And see what you have, but you should have a hunk of each of your main and inside fabric that you could cut. That would be what was it? What did we need? 7 by 8 by 19. And then on down from that, there should be about 3 inches that was on top of the 24-inch piece. Let's see if you can do it that way. So we could, I mean, it doesn't matter whether your inside your pocket's different than the outside. It could just, you know, it could just be funkier, but. All righty, well, does anybody, if you have any questions, just get online. I sleep a lot during the day. What?
In your group, they can answer those.
Yeah, in the group. Yeah, if you just stick the questions in the group.
When will the video be available on the group page?
Probably by tonight.
Thank you. Yes.
But if you want to private message me or private message Margie, you can do that too. Whatever you want to do. But make sure, of course, that you're going to be quilting. So once you decide what kind of thread you have, fill a few bobbins, because I went through 2.5 bobbins quilting my city lights. I hate filling bobbins, so I always fill a bunch. before I start because it makes me upset when I have to stop. But check your extra pieces or your scraps and see if you can't come up with an 8x19 piece or 2 8x19 pieces and 2 3x19 pieces, and let me know. Let me know, and because otherwise we'll have to punt. I don't know.
I have an off-topic question.
Sure.
Your bins against the wall. Is that like your scrap stuff? Fabric that you're trying to sell?
Up here?
Yes, yes.
That's the Minky scarves and the Minky half yards.
Okay, sorry. It just was like
Yeah.
something
No.
that was standing
That's all
out
right.
the whole time.
That's all right. All righty. Well,
What brand of thread do you recommend?
I'm using Glide, but that's just because I have it. Any polyester thread's fine. Or if you use Orifil, it's a really strong thread. I just make sure it was a really strong thread because you don't want your bag to bend someday and the stitching pop.
I like
I mean-
sew notions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just.
Superior has a polyester thread, but I use Glide because it comes on a big tube thingy. So that's why I use it. All righty. Yeah, if you have any questions, just let us know. Otherwise, have a good week sewing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good week
Thank
camping,
you.
Michelle.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to sign out.
I don't either. Margie will get us off.
Click on your screen and just click on your screen and hit leave.
Oh,
Don't have
Oh,
a
there's
leave.
the leave. Okay.
Disconnect. No, wait, what? I don't have a leave.
I don't have a leave either.
Margie should be able to end the class.